If you've ever watched a woman lose interest without knowing exactly when it happened, this will make you uncomfortable. Because attraction doesn't disappear randomly. It shuts off the moment she stops feeling something around you. I'm going to speak to you as a psychologist and as a woman who has spent years listening to men ask the same question in different forms. What am I missing? And the hard truth is this. Most men are not unattractive. They are emotionally invisible. Instant attraction is not about looks, money, status, or clever lines. Those things can open a door, but they don't flip the switch. Attraction ignites in a much faster, quieter place, her nervous system. And the moment you walk into her emotional field, her body decides whether you are safe, grounding, and intriguing, or just noise. Here's what almost no one tells men. Women don't fall for what you say. They fall for how you make them feel about themselves when they're around you. That feeling forms before logic ever catches up. It happens in seconds. Most men talk at women. They explain, impress, perform, justify. But attraction begins when a woman feels emotionally met, not mentally entertained. If she feels like she has to stay guarded, polite, or neutral around you, her attraction never even turns on. The instant attraction trigger is presence. Not confidence as performance, but calm self-possession. A man who is not rushing to be chosen. A man whose emotional center is stable, whether she reacts positively or not. That state alone changes how your words land. When a woman meets a man who doesn't need her approval to stay grounded, her nervous system relaxes. And when it relaxes, curiosity opens. Curiosity is the gateway to attraction. Here's the uncomfortable part. Neediness doesn't sound like neediness. It sounds like over-explaining. It sounds like filling silences. It sounds like trying to manage her reaction. And women detect it instantly, even when they can't name it. Attraction turns on when you stop trying to create it. A man who listens without trying to steer the outcome feels rare. A man who speaks slowly, with intention, without seeking validation, feels powerful. Not dominant, anchored. And anchoring is magnetic. The trick isn't to become mysterious or distant. It's to become internally complete. When your emotional state doesn't depend on how she responds, she feels free instead of pressured. And freedom is attractive. Most men think attraction is something you do. In reality, it's something you allow by removing the tension you bring into the interaction. When you enter an interaction already okay with any outcome, your body language shifts. Your voice deepens naturally. Your eye contact becomes steady instead of searching. Your words carry weight instead of urgency. That's when attraction starts, not because you're trying, but because you're not chasing. Section 2. There is a specific emotional pattern that makes women feel instantly drawn to a man, and it has nothing to do with seduction techniques. It's about contrast. Women are constantly surrounded by emotional noise. Men who want something from them. Men who subtly push, seek reassurance, or try to impress. When a man shows up without that agenda, he creates contrast, and contrast grabs attention. The instant attraction trigger is when a woman feels seen without being pursued. This happens when you ask questions without interrogating, when you respond without trying to top her story, when you don't rush to relate everything back to yourself. These small behaviors signal emotional maturity, and emotional maturity is deeply attractive. Another truth most men don't want to hear: attraction doesn't grow when you try to be liked. It grows when you are willing to be misunderstood and still remain calm, when you don't rush to correct her perception of you, when you let her wonder. Wonder creates space. Space creates desire. Women are drawn to men who don't over-access themselves emotionally, not because they're cold, but because they respect their own boundaries. A man who doesn't overshare early signals that his inner world has depth and structure. Instant attraction happens when your energy says, I'm open, but not empty. Your silence matters as much as your words. Silence that feels grounded invites her to step closer emotionally. Silence that feels anxious pushes her away. The difference is whether you're comfortable inside it. Another key trigger is emotional leadership. This doesn't mean controlling the interaction. It means being emotionally steady when she shifts. If she becomes playful, you don't chase it. If she becomes quiet, you don't panic. you stay centered. That emotional steadiness communicates safety, and safety is the foundation of attraction. Not boring safety, secure safety. The kind that allows desire to exist without fear. Women often say they want excitement, but what their nervous system craves first is regulation. When you regulate yourself, she can relax into attraction. And here's where men sabotage themselves. The moment they feel attraction back, they speed up. They lean forward emotionally. They try to lock it in. That pressure collapses the polarity. Attraction needs space to breathe. The instant trick is not escalation, it's restraint, letting moments land, letting eye contact linger without demanding anything, letting connection exist without labeling it. When you master this, women feel something they can't explain. They feel pulled toward you without feeling trapped. That's not manipulation. That's emotional intelligence. Section 3. There's a psychological reason why some men create instant attraction without trying, and others struggle no matter how hard they work on themselves. It comes down to internal orientation. Men who struggle with attraction are externally oriented. Their attention is on her reaction, her approval, her interest level. Men who trigger attraction are internally oriented. Their attention is on their own emotional state first. Women subconsciously track this. When your emotional state is self-generated, you feel solid. When it's dependent, you feel hollow. Hollow energy creates discomfort. Instant attraction activates when a woman feels like she is choosing you, not being pulled by you. Choice activates desire. Pressure kills it. This is why confidence without empathy feels arrogant, and empathy without confidence feels weak. The balance is self-respect plus emotional awareness. A man who respects himself enough to slow down doesn't need to dominate. He invites. His presence gives her room to respond authentically. Another trigger is unpredictability. Not chaos, but non-reactivity. When you don't mirror her emotions automatically, she feels intrigued. Not because you're distant, but because you're grounded. If she teases you and you don't rush to defend yourself, attraction spikes. If she tests you and you respond calmly instead of proving yourself, attraction deepens. These moments tell her nervous system, this man is stable under pressure. Stability under emotional pressure is rare, and rarity creates value. Most men think attraction is about adding something: humor, charm, dominance. In reality, it's about removing insecurity from your presence. When you stop needing to impress, you become impressive. When you stop chasing validation, you become validating. And when you stop trying to control how she feels, she starts feeling more. Instant attraction isn't magic. It's psychological alignment. Your inner state sets the emotional temperature of the interaction. Women don't fall for tricks. They fall for how safe and alive they feel in your presence at the same time. That combination is what makes attraction feel immediate and intense. Section 4. Here's the final truth I want you to sit with. Attraction is not something you earn. It's something you allow by becoming emotionally congruent. When who you are, how you feel, and how you communicate align, women sense it immediately. There's no friction, no mixed signals, no emotional static. The instant attraction trigger is authenticity without attachment. A man who can enjoy a connection without clinging to it is unforgettable. Because he doesn't take energy, he offers it. If you want women to feel drawn to you, stop trying to pull them in. Instead, become someone whose emotional space feels calm, grounded, and open. This doesn't mean you hide interest. It means you express interest without expectation. That difference is everything. When you look at a woman and genuinely enjoy the moment without needing it to go anywhere, she feels free to want you. And desire only exists where there is freedom. Most men never hear this. They're taught to pursue harder, speak louder, do more. But attraction grows in stillness, not force. When you master your inner state, your words become fewer but heavier. Your presence speaks before you do. And that's why some men walk into a room and women feel it instantly. Not because of what they say, but because of who they are being. Before you go, I want you to answer this honestly in the comments. When you talk to a woman, are you focused on how she feels about you? or how you feel within yourself. If this resonated, like the video, subscribe, and share it with a friend who keeps wondering why attraction slips through his fingers.